One ocelot plays scared while the other goes for the throat. Plus, Ace is having the best worst time. Veronica and Flora are beginning to really waste space. Leroy is feeling some deja vu brewing. The levels of schtick continue to increase. Adam gets super heated. And Starmaster Steve continues his winning ways. It's the Challenge All-Stars 4 Episode 10 recap coming up right now. What up, my fellow Challenge lovers? Welcome to The Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. If it's happening in the Challenge universe, we are here to document it. I am your host, dedicated Challenge Historian, Jacob Hollabaugh. Thank you so much for being here on this wonderful Wednesday, All-Stars 4 Wednesdays. Gotta say, really, as much as I miss when it's on Paramount Plus, and the great part is waking up in the morning being like, the first thing I get to do today is watch All Stars. This is the best, and the season's been good, so it just makes it all the better. That part's amazing. I kind of miss the live experience of everyone watching at the same time, being on Twitter and the commercials. That part, pros and cons to both, but I am really enjoying right now All Stars 4 Wednesdays, getting up, being able to do this first thing in the morning. This is another very good episode, a lot to get to. We will dive in here momentarily. Quickly, gotta say though, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't do this every episode. I try to be not too over the top with it, but I'm gonna say it this episode. Please hit that subscribe button, specifically if you're watching on YouTube. We're not too far away from getting to 1,000 subscribers, which is a big inflection point for a YouTube channel. So please hit that button if you have not already and are watching over there. If you're just listening, you can feel free to follow or subscribe on Apple and Spotify and things of that nature as well. Updates for the coming weeks, programming reminders, just All-Stars coverage for 3 more weeks after this. 2 more episodes to cover, and then a season recap and awards will likely be after that. Otherwise, we'll keep you updated, but right now life's a little crazy over at HQ, so do not know what will or won't be possible or doable in the coming weeks and in the expected slight off season between All-Stars 4 and when I assume they will announce and give us season 40. So that's all that's going on here. Thanks as always for being here. Let's dive in. Same agenda as always. All-Star 4 Episode 10 recap. Here we go. Kicking things off, not even at the house. With the intro, Cara narrates it, and they have slowly over the season went from the first few were like, we're going to film you narrating it, and we're going to mostly show you talking and doing something goofy or whatever. Loved them. Now they're just kind of narrating over top of everything else, although this one supposedly, maybe, unless it was just really nice editing at the end with Cara, jumping in the air and saying $250,000, maybe she was actually narrating that out by the pool and they just only showed the coverage over. I bring all this up because one, I've still enjoyed that they're doing that. I liked it more when it was like kind of like a scene with the previous winner, but in this one, there was something that stuck out, which was Cara said in that narration that there was only one challenge left. And so in the moment, I was like, God damn it, wait, there's only one. I guess it's a men, so the women, like, you're shit out of luck. And also that means that if this is a 12-episode season, there's a 2-episode finale, like, with 6 people, that's going to be random. So I was all confused. I was, and I was like, I don't know, I take that. It's literally a written out scripted narration. I take it for her word. It wasn't like Cara theorizing. I think that was the last chance. She said one challenge left. So that started the episode with some confusion. Then it's just a bunch of quick scenes, 5 quick scenes, basically back to back to back to back to back, really, really fast before we get to the daily. Nicole and Laurel, it's just watching them, it's just kind of like a real turn off for the show right now. It's just really hard to watch them be all cute and cuddly when we've seen everything we've seen and we know everything that's to come. So that was a bummer to always have to fit in one of those every episode. The rest of the quick scenes, then, nothing worth discussing here. Most of them will be discussed later, but I will say it was nice that it felt like those were the types of scenes where instead of the 4 of them, there's like Ace and Jay in one of them, there's Ryan and Derek, there's Steve and Adam. They're setting up storylines as they always do, but it feels like these scenes normally we'd have 1 or 2 of them and it'd be like, damn. Okay, so these are our 4 players. These are the 4 people. One of them is going to win. Two of them is going to go into elimination. One of them is going to be angry or something. Like, we kind of have the story set up. And I loved that they actually gave us instead, like, there's a bunch of balls in the air here. There's a few different storylines that we could go down for this episode. And so you don't know. We, eventually get the payoff of the Adam and Steve scene. But at this moment, where normally I'd be like, oh, I feel like something's brewing there. I was like, well, there's 4 or 5 things brewing here. So I love that they, they left it some actual suspense. They actually built in some suspense with this one, with one exception. Stop naming the episodes with a player's name. Jay's name was in the episode name, and when you're watching it on MTV, television, whatever, it's not as big of a deal. You don't necessarily see that. But when you're watching on Paramount Plus, I got to go click on the tile with the name right under there. And so I was like, oh, Jay's in the elimination this episode. I didn't know if he went home or it was a celebratory thing, but I knew, hey, Jay's going to get into the elimination. So when we go to the daily, I'm like, Jay's probably going to win this to get himself into the elimination, et cetera, et cetera. So stop doing that. But I loved that you set up a bunch of storylines, a bunch of threads that could be pulled throughout the episode. Then we get to that daily challenge, which was fantastic. What a job. I mean, I got to go back for the full season. We'll fully review all the daily challenges, all the eliminations, and kind of give an overall grade of how they did. But I feel like they've really been nailing a lot of them. And I loved this one so much. Every aspect of it was great. Again, it, obviously takes some physical ability here, but there's also the mental strategy part that comes into it. It's everyone on the course at once. There's a little bit of chaos. We didn't get a ton of it, but there was the possibility for like bumping into each other, getting in each other's ways, lassos getting crossed, all of that. So it's chaotic. It was actually kind of interesting to watch visually, the whole thing. Everything, every aspect of it, absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about a couple performances from it. Jay obviously does get the win in Laurel as well. Obviously crushes it. Well done, and is the first to get the strategy of these lassos don't mean shit after the first one. Like, yes, from the starting line to the first barrel, the lasso is kind of the only way to really get there. Although it seemed like, it seemed like they were on enough of a slant. There was different points where like poor Avery at one point just like starts just rolling away as she's halfway through the course or whatever. So there was some undulation working there. I don't think you could have just straight up like, humped the thing forward a couple inches at a time. But once you got to the first one, Jay quickly realized, you know what? There's no rules here. We can just push ourselves, and there's enough of these. I don't even have to push in that straight of a line. Like, I'll probably get to another one and position myself around it and push again. And he does, and he flies through the course, and he gets the win. Great job there. Great job to Laurel. Then we get the moment that I've got to eat my words. I came into the season. I had very, conflicted feelings about the format and where the incentive structure was going to lay. And very few, basically almost no one has like thrown challenges yet to get into the bottom. And here we have 3 people who very clearly should go into the bottom once Jay has won, and 3 others that they're going against who would happily go into the middle. So it's not like anyone's waiting each other out of like, no, you give up worse. Like Ace and Derek and Ryan should want to be in the bottom after Jay wins, and Ryan ends up there. Ace and Derek, though, are both, in confessional, like, competitor. I want to try. I don't want to purposely get last or whatever. I'm like, do you want to play the game? Do you want to try to make it to the end? Which I will come back to later. Maybe something that is going on a little bit with this cast, but Ace and Derek, I didn't get what they were doing, because Leroy, Steve, and Adam all are willing. Those are the 6 people left, and those 3 are willing to go in the middle. They're not trying to be in the bottom, so you could have very easily just stopped and said, Leroy, Steve, Adam, can you guys finish this? You go in the middle, we'll be in the bottom, and all non-star holders will be, up for elimination here, which is what they should all want. So a little confused. And then the other performance, I've got to talk about it for 25 seconds or probably slightly more. If you can't get off of the starting line in a daily challenge, the daily challenge that lasts a while, it's not like this is over in 30 seconds. This takes many minutes of time, it seems like. If you can't get off the starting line And it's not because you're throwing it or anything else. It's just because you are both incapable slash just don't really care, not trying that hard. And the challenge ends and you literally haven't moved. Should you be on the show anymore? Like, I know Flora, obviously, it's not like she's been on it. Like, she was literally brought back all this time later, and this was always a way it could go when you're bringing someone of this age in 25 years after they were on the show one time. Like, this is possible, and we'll see if she's ever cast again. I'm doubting it. But for Veronica, it's like, everyone knows my feelings on Veronica. I assume you've seen the show before, you've listened before. She's been a talking point on a lot of recent episodes, the casting of the last couple of seasons and everything else. She is the original face of the show. She is a Mount Rushmore figure to me, which Mount Rushmore does not mean 4 best ever. Go watch that video for the comments and DMs I've gotten about me saying that the last couple episodes about Veronica, and understand what Mount Rushmore, I'm a literal person, actually should mean. Proper analogies, people. But if like it was cool to see her, Tina, and Rachel there together, but it's not super fun or interesting to be like, this person can't do the challenge. So like, are they really providing much to the show at this point? If it's one thing if it's like, this person's beloved and we've only seen them 2 or 3 times, so yes, just for the commentary alone or anything else, great. If we've seen them this many times and they just like don't seem to care to try to even compete, then and last week she did so well and like trying her ass off to pull that ball down, and it kept over and over, and it was like, just yeah. So that was concerning a little bit. I loved that immediately after that was also way over 25 seconds. Loved that immediately after the challenge, they're all negotiating who's going to go in. Like, the moment the horn blows, I actually really appreciated and enjoyed that they just all kind of run together, and negotiations are going wild. Jay's leading in, like, I'm going in, this, that, the other. Maybe you, whatever. Loved all of that. And I also loved the cheesy podium celebration. Those things work on me. This episode, this whole season has gotten really shticky. They've done a bunch of different things like this, but there's no reason to have that. But there's also every reason to have that. It's fun, it's silly, and I enjoyed it. I don't know. I would be totally understand if someone was like, that is super dumb and silly, and I don't enjoy it. I get it. Totally understand. But I do fall on the side of, I kind of like that stuff. We're back at the house for nominations that seem like they should be smooth and easy. So smooth and easy that Steve goes to take a shower to get his hair and body feeling all smooth. And that goes awry when he ends up wasting. That moment, and just Steve in general has been so funny to me this whole season, but he ends up wasting that like long-term conditioner. I can't say I'm even with this amazing locks of hair that I got going on here, and I'm not aware of all the grooming products he goes through on his list that he's going to use there, what he ends up wasting by having to go and get dirty in the elimination. But I digress. It seems like the nomination should be pretty smooth. Ryan wants a chance at a star. We know Jay is almost certain to go in even after last week. People are very trustworthy of like, Jay's actually going to do it here. And it seems like it should be straight up, easy peasy, no problems about it. And then Ryan decides, never mind, I don't want to go in. And I'm shocked. I'm stunned. I don't know what is going on here. I don't know why. I get that they think in their heads, they all get to use the excuse. They think there's one more chance, and they are correct. There is going to be one more chance, but like, one more chance for a bunch of you. And do Ryan and Derek secretly be like, I'd really like to go against each other because it would be fun and guarantees one of us a star, and like, that would be cool. And so like, maybe we can game this to like, the 2 of us will be in the last one and one of us gets a shot, because it ruins any chance of like, they could never go to a final together now, assuming there isn't some big twist where somehow all the stars are up for grabs again next week, which would be an absolute travesty if that happened. But yeah, I just don't know where his head's at here. This is where I'll come back to the thing I referred to earlier, though. I have a sneaky suspicion that based on how these contracts work, that they're all paid by how many episodes they're in and how long they're there in the game, that there's some people, especially, can happen. I mean, probably even more so on the flagship because it's so long, but in an All-Stars house, we were like, I actually like being in this house. I'm friends with most of the people here. I'm having a decent time, a good time. I'll just get, and maybe I'm probably not going to win that final anyway. So maybe I just get to the last week and get as much money as I can, as many paychecks as I can here versus going into an elimination and losing out on, a little bit of a paycheck. I don't know that that's going on for Ryan. I don't know that it's going on for anyone in the house, but it would make sense that that would be going on for people. And with how lackadaisical this cast has been about the idea of like, you need one of these freaking stars. How many times does TJ have to say it? And them being like, it's fine. We'll get the last one. We'll all get the last one. All of us collectively will get the last star together. It seems like maybe there's a little of that going on, whether it is with him or anyone. I don't know, but it's worth bringing up and acknowledging that it could be happening. So stunned that Ryan doesn't want to go in, and then he somehow also has curries the favor in the house to get his way with that. And in the voting, I've got to ask the question of if Adam blows it in the voting or not. Because it does feel like the answer is he doesn't, because I kind of feel like one way or the other he was going to end up losing a star at the end of this episode, maybe. Unless I don't know if Steve would have taken it if Adam doesn't vote for Steve and is like, I'm doing Ryan and Leroy. But he could have voted Ryan and been like, I don't care what Ryan wants. He votes for the 2 star holders to go with the idea of, that at least leaves open if Jay doesn't go in, my star is completely safe. And if Jay goes in and wins, my star is safe because he has to take the other star. So it is probability-wise like the best way to keep his star safe, which I think is just he's purely going off of that. And so I get it. But I don't know. If it's Ryan versus Jay in the winner picks between all 3 of you, Leroy, Steve, and you, or maybe he knew, they're for sure both going for me. It seems like Jay was like down to obviously not take Leroy's if he would have won. If Ryan wins, I don't know where his allegiances fully lie in that scenario. And so I don't know. It's an interesting deliberation for him. And he obviously has all the information there and is very much going off the probabilities. So I get it. I think he was just going off of, worst case, Jay, hopefully Jay does not lose to whoever he goes in against, was his worst nightmare, which obviously plays out. Final thing about nominations, though, Cara, my queen, Cara Maria. Love you to death. Love you to death. But you know who else I love to death? Ace. And Ace loves you to death. And Ace has been helping you out. And can you not help the guy back out a little bit? They're sitting there. Ace is all torn up. 3 people have voted. Cara and Ace are yet to vote. They need one more person to vote to seal the deal. And Ace is stumbling over what few words he can get out. He's openly like, I hate all of this. And Cara literally just like points to him like, you're still up. She does eventually, as far as we're shown from the edit, say her decision first. But it takes a damn while when all you have to do is be like, my guy's having a horrible time. Like, I'll vote and I'll go Leroy and Steve. Ace, your vote no longer matters. That's Leroy and Steve's the matchup. Doesn't matter who you vote for. So you can tell your friends that you don't have to, you can vote Leroy and Steve too. And instead she votes for Ryan and ties it and makes Ace's vote matter of like, you have to either like Steve's going in, so you don't have to betray the friend. You can just not say Ryan and you can throw in Leroy and you haven't betrayed anyone necessarily, but still, come on. He's been helping you so much. He's been so great, and he's just the best. And I was just really looking for Cara to step up there and be like, Ace, I got you. I have no problem making this decision. It's okay. Then we do go to that arena, and Jay has a decision to make. He is faced with, there's a game that does not necessarily stack up great for him, which, man, what a tough, unfortunate stroke of luck here. Now, ultimately, the game is always, in the player's hands. He could have got the chance earlier, et cetera, et cetera. But you walk in and you're like, God damn it. I have a nose thing where, like, I really hate going underwater. It's very difficult, and I need to cover my nose. And so I'm down a hand. And then I have to put a puzzle together based off color, and I am colorblind, and it's shades of colors, not even, like, different colors. That's pretty tough. it would have it would have been somewhat. I mean, it would have been understandable if he said, I just can't do it. I feel like I'm definitely going to lose this, even with there only being one left. But there's only one left, and so he had to go in. He really really had to go in, and I love that he did it. I love that he stood by his word. I love for his reputation and being willing to be a gamer and just be like, no, this is the point. He now joins Kara and Steve, I guess, as the only people who have been truly playing this game the whole time, which is, again, to get a star and keep a star. That is the name of the game. And he actually actively was trying the entire time. And he took his chance when he finally got it, even if the odds ended up being a little bit against him here. So, love that for him. Love it for Leroy. Because if he would have been like, you know what, for this reason and this reason, like, I really think this is going to go poorly for me. I can't do it. I'm going to take my slim chances at getting the last chance, one more chance at this. Leroy, the feeling of if he goes in and then loses it to Steve, we like Steve crushed this. He did great at this. Like, very well could have beat Leroy in this. That would have been unbelievable. What an unreal back-to-back episodes it would have been if Cam and Leroy both went out in the same manner after being on cloud nine, running the house the moment before, and then back-to-back times of, I swear I'm going to save you from elimination. Oops, never mind, I didn't. And then you go home. Would have been stunning. Would have been incredible television and theater. Glad it didn't happen. I want to see Leroy in this final. The game itself that they play, pretty sweet. Love it a lot. Similar to the daily, they're just crushing it, I think, as far as the mixture of physical to mental and how the level of difficulty, and is it actually visually interesting to watch the whole thing. I think they're really nailing all the eliminations right now, and this one for sure fits that bill. Both perform adequately. It's not like Jay like sucked, or they both sucked and one had to suck a little less or anything else. Like, they both do seemingly really well. Jay's a touch slower, touch more frantic on the puzzle part. I was surprised that both of them even went the route of like putting a puzzle piece together before all of the pieces were out of the water. I think it's a little different than last week's with Cam and Kara, but it's still, I think the same strategy prevails of get all the pieces out at once and then put the puzzle together. With the exception maybe here, I think on Steve's part, it was a little bit of, I'm getting a little tired. I'd like to stand and do the part that's standing and thinking versus the climbing and swimming. And also, I hate to even bring this up because I don't know how many people registered it, picked up on it. But Steve does reference in one of the confessionals that the jumping down hurt his knees. And it was a throwaway half sentence during a confessional. But they always put that stuff in if they want to be able to point back in like, we told you when this happened. And I'm very nervous that next episode's going to open with Steve throwing ice bags on his knees and saying the win was great, having the star is great, but I'm going to try to hide the fact that my knees are toast, that like I think I actively like really hurt one or both of them or something jumping off of that thing. I'm nervous. I don't want that to be the open to next episode. I'm praying that is not the open to next episode. Steve wins. He's a little better. He's a little faster. His resume is looking real nice right now. Like, these are 3 solid elimination wins. He beats Tyree in a 50-50 elimination where he just has a better games the system. Borderline cheats, if you will, but it was allowed, and very smart strategy to get the win there. He beats Kifla in a physical elimination, which is no small feat, and then he gets the win here versus Jay in another kind of 50-50 toss-up. He has a little advantage of Jay having those things working against him, but solid resume season here for Steve Menke. And then he takes Adam's star, and I probably would have gone Leroy in the situation, just based on, in the moment, I'm grading out Leroy's chances in a final a little higher than Adam's. And so I would just purely go off of, especially this late in the game, like, I want to get the biggest threat, the star, away from the biggest threat. Maybe that's even like he was allowed to take a woman star. He's not taking Kara's, because now we got last week that they're friends. But then we got at the end of this episode that maybe they're the 2 outcasts, that they both officially have no friends really in the house after this. So I don't think he was ever going to take hers, but it's either hers or Leroy's is where I'm grading, based off my power rankings, the top two. But he takes Adam's. And he doesn't really mention the revenge factor, but maybe he did and they didn't have time to put it in there because Adam goes off in his confessional. He is fucking pissed. Oh my God. This was the most unexpected part of the whole episode was how upset Adam was and how vicious he got in that confessional. Like, I get it. Your chance potentially at running the final was just stripped away from you and you have very low odds of getting it back. But that is your friend who you had no issue with ever trying to get out of that elimination. You've been a part of throwing him in multiple times, and he picked, he had a 50-50 pick here of like, I got to take one of you or Leroy's star, and I'm going with you. So be it, like whatever. So it doesn't seem like the biggest violation in the world. Definitely should be upset, definitely pissed at, losing the opportunity. But man, he just goes all in, the finger to the camera. He held it up there for a while too. He's like, you're going to show this on the show. There's no cutting this confessional right here. You're gonna show this middle finger. Was blown away at the vitriol, and it definitely seems like it's going to carry over into next episode. So excited to see where that goes. But Ace gets his second time of the season that he gets handed a star. Tries to say no. We have the really funny moment at the beginning where he tries to immediately say how bad he feels, and Leroy's like, dude, the only thing that people are upset with you about is how often you're saying how bad you feel. Can you just stop? Like, we love you. No one's mad. Stop. Appreciated that moment from Leroy. But Ace, sweetheart position here. I don't think with one round left, anyone should steal his star. If the last star is to be stolen and not given or anything like that, or lost or purged or something, I think someone should steal Leroy's or Steve's before his. I feel like Ace just got his ticket to the final. So, great position to be in. Good guy. Love him to death. Glad that we're probably going to see him run the final. To the awards we go. Best quote this week goes to one and only Cara Maria for quote, I like the fact that he sticks by his word because that is rare in these challenges, but it also leaves you broke. End quote. Just really fantastic. Longtime listeners know I'm a sucker for ones that explain the game, that are witty and smart, but explain the game at the same time within their quote that makes, has good context to the given moment. Love that from Cara. Best moment of the episode. We haven't talked yet about the ocelots joint confessional. It was so good. It was everything. Shout out Ryan and Jay for both. Look, huge cat guy over here. I'm aware of ocelots, but I don't know all my ocelot facts, okay, that they've got here of like, this is actually a good descriptor of us for this reason, and this reason, and that they both knew that and said it, and then that they both, I'm sure one or the other was maybe edged on in confessional to like the other one talk to us about this. So now can you talk to us about it? But both of them giving those kind of very similar confessionals about it, all of it really funny, really smart again on their part. Like shout out to them. And as a big cat guy, love cat content. So enjoyed every aspect of that. And then that they said it to each other in person of like, what, come on, man, the ocelots, like, aren't we going to go against each other? When Ryan was telling Jay that he no longer wanted to go against him, and calling Jay the strongest guy in the house, I should point out. That moment up against Adam, just ripping into Steve at the end of the episode via confessional. I'm going to go with the ocelot joint confessional because I think we're going to get round 2 of the moment from Adam in next week. Best strategy. I know it doesn't work out, but Jay put himself in because he had to, because the odds, even if the odds were against him, if this was this 50-50 elimination just dropped to like 65-35 in Steve's favor, that 35 was still better than whatever it would be to win again and win a daily, win an elimination, or get voted, convince people to vote you in and then win an elimination in what I'm guessing they're all thinking. I'm definitely thinking, hey, I know this has been great that they haven't given us physical eliminations, but they're probably going to give us pole wrestle one time and it's going to be the last time, right? Like it's got to be in the back of everyone's mind. So just the odds of him being the one of the 4, there's 6 people left at the end of this episode. So one of the 3 non-star holders that could possibly get a star in the last episode a 1 out of 3 chance in that, and that's only if, win a daily, win the elimination, or get chosen and then win the elimination. So the odds were better. It doesn't work out, but thank you, Jay, for actually playing the game the way it seems like it was supposed to be played the whole time. MVP of the episode, Cara Maria, Adam, Ace, and Steve all make the list. Hard not to give it to Steve. Unbelievable performance. Again, the shower thing was hilarious to me. I loved every bit of it. Every aspect of it. We see him with his Bulgarian bag or whatever he calls it again. He wins the elimination, of course, but he comes in second because I got to give the MVP to Jay on his way out. Again, Ryan called him the strongest in the house, a house that has Leroy in it. So shout out to Jay for that. He had a good season. He performed really, really well. He got some daily wins. He got a lot of daily seconds or thirds. He made a bunch of friends. I also agree with Cara. He fully, earned redemption. Yes, we didn't see him eat anything gross, but probably not going to see that unless he makes a final someday in the future. And I think he will do it if he gets there. So I really enjoyed the Jay experience. I enjoyed him in this final episode. I was torn up because I'm one of the random. I think random. I don't know that Steve it has like this huge following of diehard fans out there, but I feel like I'm becoming one of them. So I was a little torn is who I wanted to see win that elimination. I was kind of leaning Jay, though. I kind of wanted to see him run the final so we could get the eating moment and get him to be able to give that a shot. But great season from him. MVP performance in this episode. And looking forward to having him back. Hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, at some point in the future. He's just missed out now twice on the 2 seasons that have filmed or are now filming. But hope to see him back. And TJ, says that we definitely will. So I trust TJ. Power rankings now, which we're getting down to the nitty gritty, as one Nelson Thomas would say. Cara Maria stays top. Leroy stays second. I still like those two to win, one of those two to win the final. They both are very, on the precipice of getting there. I think they are both going to get there. And so they're top 2. Steve moves up to third because he's proven he's going to win eliminations if he ends up in the last one again. And he's got a star. And star holders just kind of have to be at the top at this point. So Nicole's right behind him. And then Laurel, Ace, Derek, Adam, Ryan, Avery, Veronica and Flora, as usual, at the bottom. Not going to talk about them anymore, since I went over my 25 seconds earlier. But I think Laurel is in a best position to earn one of these stars at the last moment here. Derek, Adam, Ryan, it's a complete toss-up if they'll get a shot, or if they do get the shot, if it's losing to a Leroy or a Steve, so or an Ace, and the stars stay where they are. It's really a toss-up for me in general. After Cara and Leroy, I feel great about, and I honestly should put Nicole third because I feel really solid that she's going to get there. But also, why would you not? If anyone steals Veronica, if someone gets to pick the star they get to steal and is able to choose Cara or Nicole, and they choose Veronica, they are so silly. They are so silly. So yeah, I would think Veronica's in this final right now, which is going to be interesting to watch, certainly. But yeah, Cara and Leroy at the top, and after that, it's just who's gonna come out of this alive and with a star in this final episode. Which, speaking of, let's make some predictions. I think it's obviously one more daily and a double elimination. That would make the most sense. If it was just a daily and it was somehow the stars were back in circulation for that, I'd be pretty disappointed. I think this is I guess I'll say this is my prediction, but it's really just what I would do if I was them. One more daily, 4 people are safe. There's 4 winners, 2 men, 2 women, upwards of star holders. 4 of you could save yourselves and punch your ticket to the final for sure. I would make 4 people safe. Everyone else is in the bottom, no middle group. Everybody in the house votes. All 12 people vote on the man and the woman elimination and go in. And that just opens the doors for all kinds of possibilities. It gives those star holders a better shot at, you've had it this long, you deserve a good shot at securing your safety and your ticket to the final. So go ahead and win and you're fine. let everyone pitch their case to go in. Don't have any like, now we just quit and get in the bottom group, middle group, whatever. Let everyone who wants to pitch their case to go in get to do so. Let everyone get to vote and have a voice in that. Leaves open the possibility of two non-star holder women or two non-star holder men could both win and both throw themselves in, which would be fascinating and make everyone really try at the daily challenge. All of it would be great. So I want there to be the last daily challenge, 4 winners and are safe or could throw themselves in. Everyone else is up for voting. Everyone, all 12 people in the house vote for both sides. That would be really, really fantastic. And then make the elimination pole wrestle. Why not? I've loved them the whole time. It would be fine if they did 0 super physical this entire time, but I would also not be terribly upset if they decided we got to do one of these and it's going to be pole wrestle. It's the easiest to do a double elimination from like a speed setup, all that kind of standpoint. And if they do pole wrestle, it'd be pretty great for beneficial to the show if we're like, it's pole wrestle and Laurel beats someone and we get Laurel, Nicole, Cara final. Like, say Cara wins the daily and is safe. Laurel isn't going to take it from Nicole, so she takes Veronica's, and Laurel, Nicole, Cara are the 3 women in the final. That'd be pretty boost of storyline for the show. And then maybe we get a Derek on the men's side getting to win a physical headbanger pole wrestle elimination to kind of boost his storyline and arc going into the final. I think that would be the best case scenario for the show, and I think that's what they should do. So again, daily challenge, 4 people safe, everyone votes, everyone else in the bottom. And I think that leads to the most interesting penultimate episode possible. I doubt that's what they'll do, but we'll find out next week. So looking forward to the last 2 episodes, looking forward to finding out. I'm normally not even like that excited about the final itself, but I kind of am about this one. Very interested to see who gets this win. Interested to see the other aspect. I would still like there to maybe be a 2 extra stars thrown out there. Bring 8 to the final. Think it could be fun, but probably not going to happen at this point. So a lot to look forward to. Thanks as always for being here. Subscribe, follow, rate, review, DM me on Instagram if you want to talk challenge. And with that, we'll be back next week for episode number 11. Till then, peace.